I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your 3-minute cattle market update for Wednesday, November the 16th, brought to you in part by the International Brangus Breeders Association. We all know that Brangus cattle are known for their heat tolerance, but did you know they could withstand cold weather too? Brangus cattle adapt well to any environment. Maybe you should consider going Brangus this sales season. For more information or to find a breeder near you, visit GoBrangus.com. Compared to last year, auction receipts since Labor Day for feeder cattle are down 10%, and we know there's 3% more cattle according to inventory. Where are those cattle at? How come they haven't been sold yet? Let's talk about that here after we talk about the board here. Your live cattle futures for December. Monday was down just 2 cents. Tuesday was down 10 cents. I mean, just doing nothing and really showing some signs of staving off that pressure. So really your fat board is holding in there pretty well. But in the day, Tuesday at 105.47, feeder cattle on January contract. Monday was up $1.30. Tuesday was up 70 cents to end the day on Tuesday at 123.02. Your November contract spot market is 126.60. So talk about your weighted average on last week's fat cattle trade. If you watched the last report that come out for the weekly summary, we talked about no trade, and really wasn't any trade to speak of. A little bit there in the middle of the week, and then if you looked at USDA market news all the way up till 6 o'clock Friday night, no trade. We come out at the beginning of the week this week and find out that 77,000 head traded on Friday that nobody knew anything about until this week. But that's kind of shocking. But nobody speaks a word, especially whenever you're on a kind of a market where your feedlots are disappointed and your packers are really not wanting to advertise the fact that they're giving as much as they are, and so everybody's just hush hush about it, and nobody said a word, and evidently market news doesn't have enough contacts to find out when 77,000 head of cattle are trading in the middle of the afternoon on Friday. But if you look at your weighted average report for your 5-area feedlot region on 96,000 head total for all of last week, your live steers averaged 103.70, which was down 61 cents. Your dress steers 162.15, down just 9 cents. So, you know, it was a little bit weaker, but really not too bad. But there was really no reason they couldn't get a little bit more money last week, and the fact that they puked so many on Friday and give a pretty decent movement for the week at 96,000 head. Now it's going to be harder to gain the dollars that we thought we could probably gain this week because they knew the packers are going to need some cattle. So, you know, we should be able to gain some ground, but, you know, somewhere close to steady is what it's going to look like coming up this week on your fat cattle trade. But we talked about your feeder cattle auction receipts being down 10% since Labor Day, and we know there's 3% more cattle. Where are those cattle at? The big thing is we haven't had any winter weather, haven't really had any fall weather to speak of so far this year yet. Now we're looking at this week, probably as you guys look at this report, the Northwest is starting to see a winter storm move across, and then it could maybe even get some measurable snowfall in the Dakotas, maybe Nebraska, parts of Colorado, and get in there. That will be the absolute first wintry type weather that we've seen. And it seems like we're still in October, and guys are just kind of putting off selling their calves. Well, we're getting in the mid to latter part of November, and guys are still putting off selling their calves. But everybody's got plenty of hay. We've had some pretty decent forage conditions around, and they haven't liked the market very well. So, you know, a lot of guys just haven't sold their cattle yet, and it's not because they were sold on the video. You would have had more cattle sold on the video last year by far than you would this year, and private treaty also. So there's still a lot of calves out there for sale. When I'm talking about cattle, I'm talking about the big calves, the big spring-born calves. And there's going to be a ton of them out there. They're going to weigh a lot. They're going to have to go right into the feedlot. There's not going to be a lot of grazing type calves out there. There's going to be big feeding calves out there. They're going to weigh heavy on the market. And if you guys have been sitting around thinking, watching this market creep back up and on the positive side the last several weeks, and you think this thing's going to take off and really go to the moon, it's not. You're probably sitting at a pretty good spot for big calves right now. If you've got some true yearling cattle and you can get some feedlots that really appreciate what those cattle will do compared to the fat calves, maybe you can squeeze a few more dollars out of them. And also the guys that are the feedlots that are waiting on these cattle, they haven't bought a lot of cattle either, so they'll jump out there and give too much for some cattle once in a while when they see some that they really like. But there's still a world of big calves to come down the pike. We're pretty much done with harvest. We've got 93% done as of the end of last week on your corn. So just all done, but just some short row stuff here and there, but pretty much done. We've had a good harvest, and the weather cooperated real well. So a lot of these guys are going to be coming into the market and wanting to buy some big fat calves to feed, and there's going to be plenty of them to buy. But you look at some cash markets in Oklahoma City, that 8,700 head. Feeder steers steady to $5 higher. Feeder heifers $2 to $7 higher. And most all of those would be true yearling cattle. Now, not all of them real local, but they would be long-tailed kind of agey type yearling cattle that'll really perform. Now in the calf market, it was higher too, but your light grazing type calves, like for wheat pasture, from $2 to $9 higher, and your heavier calves weighing over 6, just $1 to $3 higher. And you look at Joplin, 4,800 head there in Joplin. Feeder cattle steady to $3 higher. Calves were all higher from firm to higher, with those lightweight calves like those Wheatie type calves up to $15 higher. But you know, we're looking down the pike here. Guys, don't get too big for your pants britches on these light calves. I mean, we're getting up $15 higher on some of these light calves. A lot of them are bringing closer to $2 than they are $1. And if you peek into the springtime, your yearling market is not that good. So you might be spreading yourself a little thin on those. Now, on the other hand, I think your fat cattle market, as we get into next spring, which is not looking very good, I think even though that's a lot of these big calves and yearlings here of the last several weeks are going to be coming out of the feedlot about that time, yeah, there's going to be some supplies of fat cattle coming out then, but look over at those hogs. If those hogs are going to be $20 higher this spring, some of that support's going to have to be lent onto your fat cattle too. So you could think that maybe the fat cattle market for spring is a little cheap right now. But go on to DV Auction, check out on Friday night, this Friday night, November the 18th, Show Me Select Replacement Heifer Sale, Joplin Regional Stockyards. Going to be having that at 7 o'clock. That's 3 minutes, and we'll talk to you on Friday.